this vision from God is not about the numbers. It's about God's heart for his world, and for us who have the privileged task to say, Father, here we are. You know, how can you use us? What use can we be in your kingdom? And absolutely, we're filled with the Spirit of God. He's given us his Spirit and everything pertaining to life and godliness, hasn't he?
That's right.
But absolutely, this is a vision that only he can bring about. I'm reminded of the disciples, and when they said, you know, they could have asked the Lord, Lord, teach us this, that, and the other, all sorts of things, but they said, Lord, teach us to pray. If you had been there, John, back in that day, right there sitting wherever they were under their olive trees or whatever they were doing, sitting with Jesus, talking or walking along the road somewhere or doing something with their nets, how would you have rephrased that question maybe about, Lord, teach us to pray? What would you have wanted to ask Jesus?
Well, I'm not sure I would have rephrased it, but what would have been important to me, I think, and I think it was what the disciples saw. You know, they saw Jesus heal. They saw him do, I mean, just amazing things. And that wasn't, you know, raise the dead. That would have been a great thing to ask. Hey, how do we do that? You know, but instead of that, they saw what his prayer life did to him. And quite frankly, I think it was a total change from anything they'd seen before. You know, that they were supposed to pray a certain way in Jewish tradition, and here was Jesus where he seemed to be getting marching orders from God. He'd go off by himself to pray, and all of a sudden when he came back to them, they were changing direction. Even one of the places I think it's in Mark 2 or 3, where you know, people come to be healed and spends a day ministering in this village, and at night Jesus goes off to pray. The next day, many people come to the house where Jesus is, wanting to be healed, wanting to be ministered to. The disciples are panicked. Where's Jesus? They go out they find him out in the place of prayer, and they, come on, Jesus, we got people here to minister to. He says, no, we got to go somewhere else. And he left good ministry, perfectly good ministry, to go somewhere else because he got his marching orders from God. It was time to move on. And I think the disciples saw all those kinds of things, and they realized that this is a cut above what he's doing. That I mean, even calling God Father, you know, was a earth-shattering thing for them. And so for me, I think, you know, we've had the privilege of the era that we're in. Obviously, we didn't come out of an era where, well, you don't talk to God because he's too out there and so forth. So that's not quite as profound as for them. But that whole aspect of what effective prayer is, and as it touches us and we do it meaningfully, what it can do in our lives, I think is profound.